Two-day retreat on financial autonomy for state legislature and judiciary commences in Abuja.
The whole essence of constitutional alteration effort by the National Assembly has always been to strengthen the institutions of democracy, promote good governance, and hasten national development.
Senate confirms reappointment of Godwin Emefiele as central bank governor.
And prayer for Nigeria takes center stage as President Buhari prays at Medina.
So we are taking our case to the Almighty in the hope that, especially at this time of the Ramadan, which is a very holy period for Muslims, that God Almighty will listen to Nigerians.
On Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss the success stories of the social investment programs.
Right now, the federal government social investment program, of course, safety nets, began about 3 years ago. And of course, it's aimed at empowering Nigerians and improving their livelihood through several components.
Now, the social investment programs, also known as SIP, has 4 components. And these are the homegrown school feeding program, the conditional cash transfer, the NPower, and government enterprise empowerment program.
And indeed, the Government Enterprise Empowerment Program, GEEP for short, is further broken down into the very popular trader money, farmer money, and of course, market money, which are all initiatives that resonate, of course, with the people.
Now, the homegrown school feeding program, according to reports, covers most states of the Federation already, with some hundreds of billions of naira expected in capital investment over time.
Indeed, and through its very, very popular cash transfer, that's a conditional cash transfer, CCT scheme, the present administration is supporting most vulnerable, in fact, the extreme poor in the society, while also developing a skilled workforce for economic productivity by providing jobs for millions of Nigerian youths, undergraduate youths, through the NPower program.
Well, now millions of Nigerians nationwide are currently benefiting from the different schemes under the social investment programs, which many have adjudged as perhaps one of the largest social welfare schemes in the history of Nigeria.
All right. Now, what are the success stories of the social investment program? And indeed, if I may say, it probably, after the fight against corruption and, of course, the security issues that the government is fighting, this program is one of the very robust and ambitious undertaken by this administration. So, how sustainable is the program, given, of course, the catchment areas, and what will be the outlook, of course, in the next level of the present administration? These are some of the issues we want to bring to the front burner today on Good Morning Nigeria as we focus on the SIP programs. I am Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. As always, thank you for joining us.
And I'm Kingsley Osadolo. I join my colleague Claire in also welcoming you to the program, which has been broadcast as always live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We are right here in Abuja, that's Nigeria's capital city. In the course of the program, we'll bring you our traditional segments, and these include newspaper review, business, and others. In the meantime, let's take the highlights of the morning news with our other colleague, Blessing Abu. Good morning, Blessing.
Good morning, Kingsley. Good morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria. Here's the morning news. President Muhammadu Buhari has set up a committee tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that the financial autonomy of the state legislature, as well as that of the judiciary, is implemented in the 36 states of the Federation. To this end, a 2-day retreat has commenced to officially kickstart the committee's assignment.
The whole essence of constitutional alteration effort by the National Assembly has always been to strengthen the institutions of democracy, promote good governance, and hasten national development.
Any amount standing to the credit of the judiciary in the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation shall be paid directly to the National Judicial Council for disbursement to heads of court established for the Federation and the state under Section 6. of this Constitution.
Meanwhile, Senate has confirmed the reappointment of Godwin Emefiele as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. This means that Emefiele is to serve for another 5 years.
On behalf of the Senate, let me congratulate the Governor of the Central Bank, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, on the renewal of his appointment. We wish him a useful 5 years, and we'll use the opportunity to continue to provide support to ensure that the economy of our country continues to improve and address the most important area of ensuring the macroeconomic stability.
The federal government says it has recorded gains in its quest to improve revenue to GDP ratio in the last 4 years as it begins to wind down activities of the present administration. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed disclosed that government has grown taxpayers' base from 12 to 35 million as reforms continue to yield desired results.
In 2018, our budgeted revenue was 7.2 trillion, and this is against the actual figure that was realized of 3.96 trillion, signifying a negative variance of 45%. But despite that, we were able to meet salaries 100%, debt service 100%. As at 14th of May 2019, we have been able to release against the 2018 budget 2.079 trillion naira for capital expenditures.
And Nigeria now exports cement. This is one out of the many success stories in the revamped solid minerals sector in the country. Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, confirmed this in Abuja when a delegation from Morocco, as well as from the private sector, visited the ministry.
Our president attached a lot of importance to his relationship with the King of Morocco. I want to leverage on that relationship, your experience and so on, to be able to develop our own phosphates.
The federal government has earmarked over 900 million naira for the training of teachers handling students with special needs from across the country. To this end, 18 teachers are to be trained with their special knowledge aimed at enhancing their skills for optimum performance. This is one of the resolutions of the Federal Executive Council meeting.
This will actually entail training 18 teachers from each state of the Federation to handle students with special needs and disability.
The first of the memos we presented was a memo for the award of contract for the construction and equipping of material testing laboratory in Abuja.
President Muhammadu Buhari is in Medina, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in honor of the special invitation by Saudi monarch King Salman Abdulaziz Al Saud, with prayers for Nigeria taking center stage.
The president has been troubled over time by some of the challenges, new challenges, particularly as they relate to the security of the country. And the president, as do all other believers, yes, there is a sense that prayers will also help. Law enforcement is doing everything they can. Citizens are doing whatever they can, to ameliorate and combat the situation. But so we're taking our case to the Almighty.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Kingsley and Clay after this break. Thank you for watching. My name is Blessing Abu.
a complete tea with the new Peak 3-in-1 Instant Tea Mix. Peak, rich for your peak.
Are you aware that your perfect family may be under threat by germs? Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs, which could easily have been prevented. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capsule. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803-3144-383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Registrar Announcer.
When I was a little girl, I loved spending time with Mum and Grandma cleaning the house. I was so excited to sing in the choir.
And your shirts are always so white.
I knew what Mum's secret was. Today, I'm a modern woman that still trusts the secrets passed down to me. It's Jik, of course. The original trusted bleach, which can be used all around your house for amazing results.
Shh, it's our little secret.
It's no secret. It's Jik's best ever extra whitening power. Just Jik it.
All right, now it's time for us to take some business stories, and our correspondent, Kolo Mohammed, of course, is standing by to give us details from that bit.
Recently, the Central Bank of Nigeria placed restriction of forex to textile importers, an effort put up to revive the cotton garment and textile sector. The Apex Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, said the measure was well thought out to reposition the sector for job creation and economic growth. The positive disposition on the part of the Apex Bank over the success of the revival of cotton, garment and textile sector prompted some experts to opine that the role palm kernel and groundnut pyramids played in giving Nigeria an economy before oil can also be revived to speed up economic diversification away from oil.
Not pyramid that time. The value chain we are talking about, modern agriculture, should come in. The modern agriculture, when it comes in now, you will see a lot of hybrid of the groundnut they will be planting. The soil scientists we have right at the moment, modern soil scientists, should let us know that the coverage should also be enlarged because we are supported with land mass. Then we should be able to utilize in such a way that we can grow this crop not only annually, we can grow it with irrigations in such a way that we are going to have maximum output coming out of this. When we have this maximum output, then scientists should come in also. Just the way the premises of this our talk, our solution is from history. Historians need to come in. It's a collaborative effort. So also scientists will also come in on value chain. Look at developed world today. They are happy because in every single crop, they are coming out with so many value chains.
That's business news at this time. Be with you again soon.
All right, that was Kolo Mohammed on Business News. We're moving on, and thank you if you've just joined in. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria, and today we'll be looking at a very important aspect of social safety net programs. But right now, newspaper review will be coming up shortly.
Our newspaper reviewer, Baya Toyebe, is with us on the studios. Baya, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
Good
morning, Claire. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right. Claire, let's begin with you. I mean, you have more papers than I do. I have 2+1 editorial.
Okay, let's look at the trending stories. Quite a number of them, and the papers are, of course, busy front pages today. So let me begin with the leadership. Leadership has the lead story. Senate clears CBN Governor Emefiele for second term. It has the writer affirmed June 12 as Democracy Day. The details of that you can see on page 6. And just below that, this attestation coming from an envoy will work with Nigeria to set up development. Again, that story is on page 6, and you can see the roundtable Abuja-Beijing consensus, the picture story emanating from that. Just a little below the nameplate, governors back autonomy for state legislature and judiciary, page 2. Nigeria's 23 trillion naira debt deliberate. That's according to the federal government. You can read up the details of that on page 22. And INEC shaped Kogi Bayelsa Goba polls. Again, you can read it up on page 2. Nigerian Tribune, very busy, I must say. The picture story there is, of course, you can find police nab 93 suspected kidnappers, armed robbers in Kaduna, Katsina, and Niger. Those were paraded yesterday. You can find the details on page 32. Nigerian Tribune, you can find that, the picture story, if we have it. And it says the lead story, moving on to that. But I just for you to see that picture story. All right, there it is. There it is. 93 of them nabbed along Kaduna, Katsina, and Niger. Now, the lead story, just above it, FGO states 649.4 billion naira excess Paris Club refund. Recovers 605 billion naira from whistleblower policy and core members to earn 30,000 naira monthly. Let me take a look at this other stories trending just on the right column. Kogi Bayelsa governor elections, now November 16. Gunmen kidnap 5 oil workers and rivers. And we have a story on cybercrime suspects on page 33. I think I just have to pause for a while.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Punch. The Punch is just as busy as the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Well, we'll begin with the photograph on the front page of the Punch, the photograph that Claire highlighted a while ago from the Nigerian Tribune. You see the photograph there. It says 93 suspected kidnappers and seized weapons being paraded by the police at the force headquarters in Abuja yesterday. You can see the array of guns and the obvious fake military fatigues that they have, and the suspects where they were paraded by the police at the force headquarters. Lead story says, Paris Club reform. Federal government set to pay 649 billion final tranche to states. That's on page 23. And 2 earpieces there. These are stories already read. The one of National Assembly, okay, June 12 as Democracy Day, and Senate confirming Emefiele for second tenure. Above the nameplate, stock market gains 1.9 trillion naira as MTN lists 20.35 billion shares. Some governors run states like fiefdoms. That's according to Dugara. Bandits seize 3-month-old baby and 6 others in Zamfara. Lawmakers pass bill banning Niger bet and Naira bet in Bauchi. That's page 10. And then below the photograph, you have other headlines. Cybercrime suspects unleash dog on EFCC operatives. That was in Ibadan. Gombe revenue chief orders convicted for 25.6 million naira fraud. and how legislative aids petition landed National Assembly clerk and others in EFCC net. Governors back financial autonomy for state legislatures and judiciary. We didn't permit drowned students to attend party, that's according to University of Abuja. And EFCC arranged 5 Kano officials for job scam. And of course, the shift in the Bayelsa and the Kogi governorship election to November 16, it's also there. Bio,
yes.
I would like us to begin with the story.
This photograph.
Like. Yes, that's right.
A photograph, they say, is worth 1,000 words. If you look back at the Punch photograph there, the array of suspects paraded there recalls to my mind the kind of persons we saw in 1981 in his Habri soldiers that invaded northeast Nigeria. And then at that point in time, the third Armored Division in Jos had the responsibility of driving them back. You get an impression that these gentlemen here that have been paraded don't look like Nigerians. And that is, in fact, confirming some of the high speculation that there are foreign influence and involvement in the kidnapping and the banditry that is going on. But be that as it may,
if what we see in terms of their physical characteristics is anything to go by, they really do not, correspond with the characteristics of the real, Nigerians from the northern side. If you look at them closely, and even if it weren't like that, if they were actually, from Nigeria, you begin to wonder what would have been the lure, for such large number of, young people.
It's sad, but some of the speculation now is that the idle hand is, of course, the devil's workshop. So you have so many of these youths who don't have job and have resorted to this kind of violence. But another concern must be that persons who have served in the armed services, who somehow find themselves on the wrong side of the law, have been dismissed, and eventually they find themselves getting to this kind of thing. Such were found in the armed robbery case in Offa. Such are found among some of those that have been recently paraded. Some of them are said to be former service officers. So you have a mixed grill of what is going on there. But apparently, that suspicion that they don't look quite Nigerian is very high. Although one can also not forget the fact that some of the communities in the northern fringes bear similarity in features with some of our other northern neighbors.
Yeah, but I think that beyond other legal steps that the law enforcement agents will take, it will be useful for the police authorities, and indeed all others who are involved, to properly profile these persons.
Yes.
Profile. Let's know who they are. Let's know where they're coming from. I mean, if a person claims that he's coming from, that he comes from village A or village B, this is one instance where they should actually go to that village A and ascertain that this person comes from there. It's not just sufficient to say he comes from village A, then you make a notation. Let's know, so that at the end of the day, it's possible to now have a profile of some of these criminal elements. And if it's something that would then involve the National Intelligence Agency, which of course deals with external intelligence, you also know what to do. In Nigeria Republic the other day, some soldiers were killed, and these were said to have been incidents carried out by Malian rebels. So Mali is close by, Burkina Faso is close by, and as you said, remnants of Hussein Habre are probably still on the loose. So, but this is one big haul by the police, but it's something that they should dig further into, and then let the law, of course, take its course. And then look at absolutely. Yes. Absolutely, and these are persons, who would just stand by the expressway and then start firing at motorists, unprovoked, just to get them and then take them off. So,
like you said, Kingsley, if you look at the array of weapons here, they have rocket launchers.
That's right. There's a rocket launcher there, Bayo. Can you see that? That's a rocket launcher there.
Yeah. Really?
It's a handheld rocket launcher, and then, of course, you have the machetes, and then look at the other guns.
These are not, as we would say here.
I never knew Claire has some military background. She was able to identify
of course.
That's right, Bayo. Yes.
The other story read are the initiatives at the Senate. June 12th is now been passed into law as a Democracy Day. That is to replace May 29th, that was the military handover day previously observed as Democracy Day. The Senate has confirmed Governor of Central Bank And the governor of Central Bank yesterday inaugurated a committee that is to take another bold initiative. The initiative is to help reviving the textile industry in Nigeria. The target of the committee that has been set up is to make sure that textile companies, at least 50 of them, are revived between now and 2023. The task of the committee is to resuscitate the cotton belts, intensify textile clusters, improve cotton production, and boost power supply to textile farms. Already, 100,000 cotton farmers have been engaged. This is supposed to be something like the Anchors Borrowers Program for initiative for the rice. This time around, they want to make sure that the cotton belt is back. And the advantages there are unlimited. It is intended to reverse about $2 billion that we lose annually from textile that is smuggled into the country. And therefore, there is a strong appeal to the Board of the Custom and Excise to give this initiative tremendous support so that we can revive our textile industry. I recall while growing up in Kaduna, there were several textiles and they almost worked 24 hours, 7 days a week. The first group will go in at 7 a.m. in the morning and close at 11. The afternoon group will go 11 a.m. to 11 to about 3 p.m. and the other will take off from 3 p.m. Over down to the night. And so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you had textile industries, Norspin, Nortex, Arewa Textile, Kaduna Textile, and they were all working. And you cannot imagine the quantum of persons that were employed there. And so if this can be revived, it is a very tremendous opportunity to boost opportunity for employment. Don't forget too, textiles across Asaba, also in Zamfara, several other places, and Kano that have become moribund. This is a lifeline now to revive the textile industry.
Well, incidentally, it was one of the topics we discussed earlier in the week, and experts were here in the studios to discuss. It's a good move, but you have a number of factors in the mix that will have to be considered. Indeed, it's a subject matter that we'll have to take on again subsequently. There are other headlines, but I was just wondering, the implication of the National Assembly now having the two chambers having concurrence on June 12 as a new Democracy Day. Of course, that will become the day for celebrating democracy in Nigeria, June 12, which will be a public holiday because they amended the Public Holidays Act. So what happens to May 29th? May 29th, this May 29th, of course, remains Inauguration Day. So it means that for every 4 years where you have inauguration of 29 of the governors, you will have a public holiday, and then every other May 29th.
May 12th. Okay.
Every other May 29th after the inauguration
becomes an ordinary day.
Ordinary day. But suppose a governor says he wants to celebrate his first year anniversary, second year anniversary, third year anniversary.
On May 29th.
On May 20th. Of course, it will be on May 29th.
And there will be nothing in the law stopping him.
And not stopping him. They'll just declare work-free day.
Well, I see the point you're making, because for every single work-free day you declare, the man-hours to the economy that we lose is not a...
It's enormous.
Quite, yes,
enormous.
Quite enormous.
But the logic is you don't declare work-free day on May 29 after this inauguration.
Well,
so it ceases to be a work-free day.
The law should clear that, because if you are abrogating May 29 as Democracy Day, there should be explanation in the law what becomes of May 29, particularly every 4 years when it becomes an inauguration day.
Absolutely. I don't have details of the provisions.
Yes.
That's a very significant point that Bayer has also raised. What are the consequential matters arising from now declaring June 12 as Democracy Day? So, other than the days where you have other than the years where you have inauguration, what do you do? So I think it's a point
Another thing worthy of note is the response, from the governors, to the autonomy, financial lease given to, the state local governments.
Well, that has been long going, and for the benefit of doubt, and for a long time, the state government has been lording it over the local government. And you will recall that even in the proposed constitutional amendment, the autonomy that was proposed for local government was deliberately sabotaged, and eventually it didn't get to pass. But now that it is coming to the fore, it is the strongest impetus to reinvigorate the third tier of government.
Indeed, Bayo, I was thinking that it was even local government, wasn't it? Governors back autonomy for state legislature and judiciary.
To be honest with you, I don't understand the import of that story. And then there's a conference or a workshop on the implementation. There's been an amendment, to the Constitution that has become law. So, which one is this piece that our governors are now backing it? It's the law.
The law is there.
The law, you obey the law. It's simple. There's nothing to say for it. What is outstanding is autonomy for local governments. Yes. It's the one for judiciary and the legislatures has passed. So it doesn't require. It's just to say, how do you implement it? That is the point. It's how do you implement it so that you do not now defeat the purpose of the amendment. It's a law. Why you say you are backing it? What are you backing?
Please, there's a story. Kingsley and Bayo, just one of the earpieces of Nigerian Tribune, above the nameplate. It's cautioning, especially those of us, who want to buy imported, products. And it's saying imported rice poisonous. It's just atop the nameplate there. You can find that story there. It's coming from the Customs, Controller General. So I thought I should.
Well, the story about imported rice is curious in the sense that we tend to have taste for everything that is foreign. But however, the dangers that have been pointed out is that some of the rice that are imported have remained in silos, some over 5 years, some even up to 10 years. And sometimes when they bring them here, they are stale. But because we are used to them, we tend not to know. However, our locally produced rice are higher in nutrition and better because they are fresher in compared to the ones that have stayed in silos for several years. The other warning that has come is coming from the Security and Exchange Commission. They have warned Nigerians, beware of online investment scheme that calls itself loom money. They said they are targeting youths, particularly on the social media. And the danger they has pointed out is that they lure you to invest as low as 1,000 and between 1,000 and 13,000 to get 8 times the value of your money in 48 hours. Security and Exchange Commission is warning that it's fraudulent. They don't have any information about them. They are not registered. And they already have their Nigerian local version. There is a Jack loom, there's a Catherine loom. And as my brothers in Warri will say, who get here, make it here.
Shine your eye. Danger is looming.
Even from the name, loom. That's a looming financial disaster because the get rich quick syndrome.
Yes.
I'm sure those who put their money in MMM, they are still licking their wounds. I'm sorry if I'm reopening.
We spoke about that here.
If I'm reopening those wounds now, I'm sure if you are still licking those wounds or you have recovered. This is looming financial disaster. SEC has already won. Don't put your money. They can say as low as 1,000 naira. From 1,000, when you get it, you say, okay, go to 2,000, go to 5,000. You want to make you want to hit a jackpot.
And that's when they hit you.
That's when they hit you, and then the thing closes down. MMM man is late, of course. The Russian guy who created that. But let's take our editorial this morning.
Okay.
And it's coming from the Daily Independent. It says the president must probe the missing $135,000 in athletics. Speaks for itself, the title.
Well, there is confusion over the exact amount. What happens is that the money came from International Athletics Federation to Nigeria for the purposes of senior athletics competitions. 150,000 of it apparently was meant for the Nigerian counterpart, but this other surplus, which was erroneously credited, was not meant for Nigeria. And they are calling on government, because of its posture of fighting corruption, to take that as a matter of seriousness, to look through the accounts of Athletic Federation of Nigeria and ascertain that everything surrounding that money is above board and is not corruption-induced.
Like a friend of mine would say, how did we get here?
Well, we'll sort it out. That's what the investigation would do. All right, Bayo, I'd like to thank you for being with us. We hope you enjoy your weekend and see you on Monday.
Thank you very much.
All right, so it's Good Morning Nigeria, still on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll get ahead with our principal item for our conversation this morning.
What's up?
His friends didn't come.
Hey, let's practice.
But you're going out.
Don't worry about me.
Nothing satisfies a mother more than seeing a child grow up. But I know as he sweats, he'll face the risk of germs which can cause skin irritation.
That's why you need the new best ever Dettol Cool. Its new advanced formulation with extra menthol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs and gives your family icy cool freshness.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
Here you go.
Madam.
That's it. Those nairas are enough.
Hi, dear. Helen! You got so much even after spending so little.
Savings is such a necessity.
You save everywhere, but here, you lose it all.
How?
With this?
Impossible.
New Tika Apic 10X. Even after applying up to 1 liter of your solution multiple times, you won't get the same cleaning that Apic gives you in a single round.
And the expense?
Far less compared to your 1 liter of solution. New Tika Apic. Toughen cleaning,
toughen savings.
Sore throats, it's often caused by bacteria and viruses. Feels like they're having a party. You need Strepsils. It soothes the pain, plus it fights the germs with 2 germ-killing actives. Double power in 1 lozenge. Bye-bye sore throat. Take Strepsils.
All right, it's a full house here, if I must tell you. But let's join Victor Azu. He's going to give us a background report, of course, to set the ball rolling for our discussion. And we're looking at federal government social investment program. So far, how far? Let's take this background report now.
The Buhari administration introduced the National Social Investment Program aimed at empowering Nigerians through capacity building, investment and direct support. The program has 4 component parts. The homegrown school feeding program has now extended to 30 states with 9.5 million children being fed and 2.5 million farmers, cooks and others benefiting from the value chains. Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program JIP is a microcredit initiative which comprises market money, farmer money and the trader money. It has impacted over 2 million Nigerians at the bottom of the pyramid, accessing credit in 3 years and being brought into financial services of bank accounts and mobile wallets. JIP has been described as the largest public microcredit scheme in the world, and 54.2% of its beneficiaries are women. The conditional cash transfer scheme pays over 300,000 Nigerians selected from the poorest of the poor in every community, and every payment is done through their bank accounts for accountability purposes. The Empower program is designed to drastically reduce youth unemployment. The program focuses on providing youth graduates and non-graduates with the skills, tools, and livelihood to enable them advance from unemployment to employment, entrepreneurship and innovation. Altogether, in the last 3 years that the programs have been in existence, over 11.5 million Nigerians have benefited directly, with about 9 million benefiting indirectly. 12 more million Nigerians are set to benefit in the next level of the National Social Investment Program, which is only days away. What have been the success stories in the last 3 years, and how has government been able to sustain the program? These are some of the questions that guests on Good Morning Nigeria will provide answers to.
All right, thank you very much for that background. Now we have guests with us here in the studios as well as at two of our network centers. Well, first, let's welcome Hajia Miriam Owais, who is the Special Advisor to the President on Social Investments. Hajia Owais, pleasure to have you with us on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Also here with us in the studios, we would like to welcome Professor Isaac Obasi. Professor Isaac Obasi is a Professor of Public Administration at the University of Abuja. Prof, pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Again.
Abuja studio, Dolly Amina Yaya, she's head of unit. And we have Uyekola Ola transfer unit. Mr. Thank you very much. We're glad to make it.
We'll get another guest. Well, let's begin. In nearly 3 years, the SIP, that's to say, the social.
A very interesting journey. So far, 520 graduates and working with the Empire and how people to pitch with innovative ideas manifest. We've got over 9.5 million children being fed in over 56,000 schools in 31 states. We just started in Ikiti. We are feeding over 101,000. Where cooks are feeding. We're paying cooks, 101,000 cooks to feed these children. So directly, they're receiving their funds. We've set up a social register now in 27 states, but we're training people in all the other states too. So we're in the process of cleaning up their own data. So we have over 800,000 poor and vulnerable households with all their data, the situation they're in, the assets they hold, sizes of households, gender, educational levels. We have all that information relating to those people, out of which about half of them are being given cash transfers. The only thing that has delayed our ramping up is we have been trying to procure agents in the new states who will pay them, because we have to get agents to pay them directly in the locations where they live. And we have over 1.7 million beneficiaries of the market money, trader money, and farmer money in the JEEP program. So I think we're well on course trying to address a lot of the challenges that we face in this country, unemployment, poverty. We're trying to stimulate growth in the rural economy, and we're really making an impact around the country.
I was going to ask if in terms of the real goal, of, drawing back on our poverty, ranking, of course, global poverty ranking, as well as the unemployment ratings and all that. Can we put a figure to by how much, have we been able to impact on those areas? What are the indicators?
Well, we have a number of impact evaluations going on, but I should say that the World Poverty Clock people are coming in first to do a pilot in the Northeast. They are the ones that declared Nigeria the poverty capital, and they were actually using data from 2012, 2013. So we told them that this is data from long ago, and the issues of poverty we've made an attempt, and I think we've made an impact in trying to address poverty, as you will hear when you speak with the people that are actually working in the cash transfer program. So I wouldn't want to say anything that is not proven, but I'm saying that for out-of-school children, at least, we've been able to bring in children, about 15% increase around the states that we're in. This is just on average, because in some cases the teachers, the head masters and the principals are saying to us, look, we've got classes that are bursting at the seams, we've got like 500,000 more children coming in. But just our own internal information is that we have at least 15% increase in the school intake from children who were never in school before.
which are the outstanding states for the school feeding program? 31, 5 of them left. Is the FCT also covered?
FCT is about to start. We've got Kwara is ready to start. We're hoping Rivers, Bayelsa, and I forget the last one.
You mentioned Kwara.
Kwara,
Rivers,
Bayelsa.
So you would need like 2 more, 2, 3 more.
So let me think about it, because it's a lot of.
Yes, you have a lot of that's information overload.
Yes.
No, but it's curious. Why the delay? Because this is almost 3 years. We recall, I mean, when the pilot states took off, others said they were waiting and watching. And if you have joined lately, I mean, we saw the vice president munching with the puppies in the kitty the other day when he launched it. So why the delay?
Yobe is another one.
Okay.
Yobe is another one. Well, we've had all kinds of challenges, in particular in Bayelsa. Bayelsa actually wanted to start school feeding in secondary schools because they actually wrote to say their out-of-school dropout rate is higher in secondary schools rather than in primary schools. But it meant that we needed to change the framework. And part of the challenge, I mean, one of the indicators we're looking at is boosting nutrition. And you know that is done best at the younger ages. So I think the communication has gone back to them to say, can we do primary schools? This is what has delayed. Also the issue of funding. I know that Rivers is ready, and I know that Yobe is ready almost. You see, it's a process, and for some, it has been delayed. I think the lady from Kwara just said to me outside, Madam, you haven't started in Kwara. I said, it all depends on the response that we get, and it goes back and forth. When they give us the details, the data for the cooks, recall that a majority of them are not literate, and they have to give us data of the first name, second name, third name, and the BVN, the account numbers. A lot of the time, this is what delays, back and forth with NIBs. Because unless we can pay them directly in their accounts, we don't start feeding. We don't want to pay through anybody. We want to make sure that the money gets to the beneficiaries directly.
One would expect that, you know, I mean, this is supposed to be very laudable, you know, initiative to drop back on poverty and, of course, improve the living condition of people. Talking about all the different components of the SIP, from the cash transfer, the scope feeding, the MPAR, and all that. And your rollout now, according to what you say, depends on how ready.
Lagos is the last one. I just remembered now. Yeah. Lagos is the last one.
Okay. What is the excuse of Lagos?
Precisely, that's what I'm going to ask, because your rollout depends on how ready some of these states are. So in terms of, you know, readiness, what do you read about states that have not yet, you know, keyed into some of these programs?
We've had challenges engaging with Lagos. Lagos had concerns because we're trying to encourage linkages between the farmers, the smallholder farmers, and the cooks, direct linkages, so that they buy directly from them. And Lagos was concerned that they didn't have enough smallholder farmers. A lot of the food they have in the markets are brought from outside. And they were saying that if, for instance, we buy oranges at Ketu Market, the prices of oranges will skyrocket. So they needed to try and reorganize amongst the state on how to bring in the foods. You know, every menu is peculiar to what is affordable and available in the states. We try to discourage using processed foods. We try to get them to use organic foods directly from the farmers. So initially there was a burst of energy. I personally went about 4 times to meet with the deputy governor was handling. But what delayed was actually at the point of getting the banks to get the cooks on board. We had all kinds of issues, but now we believe, because as soon as we had the opportunity, I've been to Lagos and I've met with the governor-elect, and for 3 hours, just briefing him on what needed to be done so that we can quickly put Lagos on board.
All right, so we'll see how Lagos goes. I mean, the
Yeah.
population there is huge.
Interestingly,
Yes.
Lagos children, you have more children in private schools than in government schools in Lagos. And the children, it's the only state that has that peculiarity. Children in classes 4 to 6 are higher than the number of children in classes 1 to 3. I suspect a lot of children transfer, and there are more children in private schools. So it's a very interesting scenario.
You're talking about the primary school now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the private sector has been booming in terms of the provision of educational services.
Yes.
I mean, once there was a perception that there had been a decline in the quality of public schools, then, of course, you had a boom
in private schools.
Yes,
so, and we only feed in government schools. So I was expecting it to be a really large population, but compared to other states, that was the finding.
Yes, and the school fees that they pay in those private schools, those fees are enough to provide school feeding up to secondary schools in Lagos.
I know we have some of the head of units, from the other states that are already, but I'd like to hear from you. States that are already running some of the SIPs, what feedback are you getting from them?
It's been very, very encouraging. I should say that for JEEP, the market money, trader money, and for the N-Power, we're in every state, every local government, basically because beneficiaries apply directly, or we go into the markets directly and take people, take people that are interested, But for those states where we need the state structures, as in school feeding and in cash transfers, it's taken a longer time, So your question was?
What feedback are you getting from?
Very, just 2 or 3 days ago, and we opened the doors, gave them all the information they required, 30,000 beneficiaries. And they were the ones, very enterprising. We have together doing things that are not necessarily own. So they are, so they don't need to track that.
Cash transfer scheme. What is the story?
The story from Kwara is a very encouraging one, a very beautiful one. We were the pioneer state, among the pioneer states that started in 2016. When we started at the initial stage, people never really took us serious because they felt it was one of those government programs that would come and would fade away. And even when we went for capturing for them to be in the program, a lot of them were sending their children forward instead of coming forward. But when the money started coming in, they now discovered that this is real after all. And the pattern of the payment was so beautiful because the money was directly from the federal government to the beneficiary, no intermediary. And I think this is another aspect that we really need to appreciate because most of our government programs of the past did not really succeed because of the intermediary link. But this one, there is none. So there is no issue of fraud. There is no issue of somebody trying to sideline another person. So the people were really able to come out and they embraced the program and they are even demanding for increase in the total number of people that are benefiting presently in Kwara.
Let me ask you, that's with regards to cash transfer, and, the catchment, people. A lot of women in Kwara State, and I'm saying this because I've seen quite a number of them, within the extreme poor, are out on the streets of Kwara. Are those ones also captured? How do you reach out to these ones? Because if we're looking at reaching the extreme poor, the streets of Kwara have a lot of these category of people.
Yes. You see, the beauty about the program is that it is segmentized. There is an organization called ESO that bring in people into the program. We in the cash transfer are responsible for implementing, supervising, and ensuring that the people get paid as at when due. Usually, for them to be enrolled into the program, they reach out to the community. Don't go on the streets to just pick people randomly to qualify for the program. They go down to the community, because for any person that is on the street, you belong to a community. And the community should also be able to recognize that such person is a poor person, and then get the person enlisted into the program.
Okay.
So if some of them are not yet on the program, because it is a continuous process, they will one day also find themselves into the program.
All right, what numbers are we looking at now in terms of participants and the conditional cash transfer scheme in Kwara? How many men, how many women, and how much are they getting? And what is the feedback you are getting from the beneficiaries?
Yeah, for now, we have 10,176 beneficiaries in the state. And the way the program is structured is such that it is household-based. It is not about individual. The money goes to the household. And in the house, we expect the household to present a caregiver and an alternate that will be representing them to collect the money, since every member of the household cannot come forward to collect the money. The caregiver we always prefer to be a female, because we feel the female is responsible for the daily upkeep of the house, taking care of the children, providing for needs of the family, including the needs of the man. So the caregiver are usually female. So we have more female as caregiver. We prefer the men to now be alternate to the caregiver. This caregiver comes forth to collect money on the days of payment.
How much is this, and what is the frequency of payment?
Yeah, the frequency is for every 2 months, bi-monthly, because we cannot be paying every month. The logistics involvement in terms of so many other things will be very, very huge for the federal government. So we pay bi-monthly, 6 payments in a year, in the sum of 10,000 naira. And another beautiful thing about the program is that we have a program ID for every beneficiary household that is in the program. And then for the payment providers, they also have their own payment ID card. So for any household that is coming for payment, you must be able to prove that you are a member of the program by wearing your tag, the program ID card, and of course you present your payment card and you get paid, because we are doing electronic payment right now.
Okay, Kingsley, let's bring in Ezekiel Oyekola Ladikbo, who is in our Ibadan Network Center. Mr. Ladikbo, would also like for you to share with us, what the story is like with regards to implementation of the SIPs.
Thank you very much. The program started in Oyo State in 2016. Oyo State is one of the 9 states that started the program in 2016. The capturing of the benefiting households was made by an appointed payment service provider, and that is a Stanbic IBTC bank. This bank went into the communities to do the capturing of the enlisted benefiting households, represented by a caregiver, preferably a woman, and an alternate. So the capturing was done by Stanbic IBTC Bank, and the payment started in December 2016. The first payment was made in January 2017, and the local government that started the program in Oyo State was just 6. Later, another 6 local governments joined. Presently, the program is into 19 local government areas in Oyo State. Up till May 2018, the total number of our beneficiaries in Oyo State was 12,806. But along the line, what is known as a PMT, proxy means test, was done, and a good number of beneficiaries in Oyo State was dropped. And up till April this year, we now have 4,332 benefiting households enjoying the program in Oyo State. When we started, there are some challenges that we encountered on the field. The first one was when the capturing was done, the bank officials worked far into the night to do the capturing. And when the data got back to their headquarters in Ibadan, those that were captured, those photographs took in the night could not appear. And a good number of them could not be paid when the first payment was done. And the issuance of ATM card was done by this bank, and the beneficiaries were told that as soon as payment is done, they will receive an alert on their phone. And the majority of these beneficiaries do not have a handset, so they could not get alert when payment was first done. And those of them that have handset, majority of them are illiterate, who could not neither read nor write. So when they received alert, they couldn't read, they didn't know that payment has been done. So they later went to bank, and when the majority of them got to the bank officials told them that somebody has come to collect your money. Because some of them, when they were giving us their phone numbers, majority of them gave those phone numbers belonging to their children. And these are the children that are not living with them. Some are in Lagos, some are in Ibadan, some are in Oshogbo. So when those ones receive the alert, they cash out the money, and they will not tell their parents that the money has been cashed by them. And one other major problem was the problem of network. Majority of them, when the payment was made, no network for them to receive credit alert. So when the first payment was made in January 2017, majority of them could not cash out. So those that could not cash out, cash disbursement was made through the Stanbic IBTC Bank.
Okay, Mr. Oladipo, thank you very much. I mean, you've given us a rundown, but we're still going to stay with you because we need to go over to our Just Network Center to bring in another guest who is also involved in this program. But there are a few points I would like you to clarify. One, you talked about the introduction of the PMT, which then led to a drop in the number of beneficiaries from about 12.8 thousand to about 4.3 thousand. What was that BMT? That's one. And then secondly, how many local governments are outstanding to be covered in Oyo State?
There are 33 local governments in Oyo State. 19 local governments are being covered presently. So we have 14 local governments that are yet to come on board. For the PMT, it was a NASCO that used that device to determine who are really the poorest of the poor and the vulnerable group of people in Oyo State. And it was discovered that there was a wrong targeting. Those that could be registered as being poor were not actually registered, and those that are able-bodied people were included in the program. So those ones were dropped because they have the energy to provide for themselves, to fetch for themselves. So the program was not meant for those category of people. Hence, they were dropped. And that is why we have reduction in our number from 12,806 to 4,332 that we are now having.
Okay, sorry, Katie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you also talk to us about the difficulties you earlier mentioned you know, with the first disbursement in 2017. How is it now? How is that being handled now?
Oh, the problem has been resolved in that another PSP, payment service provider, has been appointed by the federal government, and it is this PSP that goes into the pay points to pay cash to the benefiting households.
Just one last one before we bring in the other guests. You talked about the children of some of the beneficiaries cashing out their amounts. Do you have any information as to whether these children subsequently made transfers to their parents? And if they didn't, what is it that has been done to use a couple of them as examples?
Majority of them could not be found because they were not living with their parents. They are living elsewhere. And when they collected, they would not let their parents know that they had collected on their behalf. Even we have some local grievance redress officers whose phone numbers were used by these beneficiaries. When these local grievance redress officers collected, they will not even go back to the beneficiaries that your money has dropped and I have collected for you. They don't give them the money when they collected. So that led to the doing away with local grievance redress officers. We now have local government redress officers who are employees of the local government. They are now the GRM officers, and they are the one that listen to beneficiaries whenever they have any problem. They report to the desk officers. The desk officers report to to the state unit of the program.
Well, thank you very much. We'll keep you on hold in the meantime. But let's bring in now Professor Isaac Obase, Professor of Public Admin. You've had an earful, of course, listening to the reports. And, of course, there's also some math in what has been said. But give us your own assessment of what's playing out.
Thank you very much. In December 2015, the president made his inaugural budget speech. And that's where he announced the SIP. And the components, as mentioned, there is one that has not actually been seen to be working. I would like to know. That is the one that is free education to science-based engineering, mathematics, and the rest of them. And I haven't heard much about that. And even though in 2017, we still have some money allocated for that particular thing. I would like to know how far. But from what we have had here, you can see there is a divergence between the plans laid out at the federal level and what we are seeing, right there. And remember when the deputy governor, Osun State, came here, we also had a little problem about how people are doing certain things that are not in line with what has been planned. How can Oyo State stay here and be telling us this story when indeed they should have known some of these things? Network problem wasn't to you. It didn't start with them. It's household based. And if you know these people are illiterate, what were the plans made? So you see a divergence between plans and implementation. And I just hope this is not replicated in many states because Mrs. Uwa is here and she must be embarrassed to hear this kind of story. You're not embarrassed? No. Yeah, that's right.
It's a process we have started, right?
Yes.
And we're addressing them.
Okay.
So as he said, this payment service provider has really dealt away with. When we found that there were issues on targeting, as he said, we had to go back and do it again because we have to make sure we have the right people on board.
Yeah, let me
so this is what happened in 2015, 2016. But he said now it's much better.
It's been cleared up.
Yes.
All right, Professor
But you see the point I'm making there. You see that point is valid. Remember when this program started, you used the World Bank.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. And that's the main reason that was put out to the public that time, why the conditional cash transfer that was existing in CGS office, conditional grant scheme, was abandoned. Of course, you know, you said it many times here, we appeared together, that that was politicized, you know, and you are bringing a registrar that is, of course, objectively derived. And even the president in that speech mentioned that the World Bank donors are helping to, produce an authentic registrar that will reflect the poorest and the marginalized, you know. And coming to hear this, that they went to the field without such a registrar. I mean,
no.
we were all here that time to know that they're supposed to go to the field with registrar to enlist people.
That's not what he said. He said that, you know, there were 9 states, as he said. Kwara is one of them. We adopted the registers that had been prepared, developed by the states working with the World Bank, even in the previous administration. All the states were made that offer to start this register. Only 8 states, and Borno, we use the IDP register. So we had that data, and we didn't see why we should start again. So we tried to validate what was already on ground so that we could start the cash transfers as early as possible. So we adopted the register that was initially there in Oyo and in Kwara. This is the problem. When we went to validate, we found that there were discrepancies. There were people that were actually, and the important thing is, it's a process. We're trying to ensure that we get to the poorest people. This PMT is actually, it ranks people. When we go to each household, we ask them issues, size of household, roofing material, assets, gender. All of that is entered into this, and then it has a PMT formula. It ranks them from the poorest to the least poor. This is to sort the people that maybe the community has said. In this same Kwara, there's a community in which the Bale said, I too am poor. And there was nothing anybody could do to argue. But when we visited his household and we saw that he had a car, majority of the people there either had bicycles or not. We removed him from the payment register.
Okay,
you understand? So that's what we're trying to do.
That's fine, Haja Miriam Owais. I would like to return to Ibadan, where Mr. Ladipo still is with us from Oyo State. Now, we are having, the payments. Do you have an evaluation mechanism just trying to assess the impact that these payments is having on the beneficiaries? I mean, if it's a freebie, every month I get the equivalent of 5,000, in 2 months it's 10,000. And what has happened to the households? Have you taken samples to find out what transformation has occurred in their lives?
Thank you, sir. The program has a very huge impact on the beneficiaries of the program, in that we have majority of them who did not have anything doing before the commencement of the program. And when they started receiving this 10,000 naira bi-monthly, they were formed. The beneficiaries were formed into groups, savings and mobilization groups. So they started contributing, and majority of them took, when it comes to their turn, they take, and they started doing something. We have majority of them that have become petty traders. We have some of them that have expanded their farming businesses. We have some that go into gari processing. We have some that are rearing animal husbandry. We have so many of them like that. We have some who, through the contributions they received, bought refrigerator, and they started selling cold pure water, cold soft drinks, biscuits, and sweet, these beverages in their shops. So majority of them, they have become petty traders. And the level of consumption of so many of the households have improved. Even the school enrollment has improved, and their saving culture has improved. So we have so many success stories to tell that this program has on the beneficiaries in Oyo State. There's a woman in one of the communities in Oyo State here who initially was processing these locust beans manually. But when she collected contributions, she bought a machine. She's now producing in large quantity, having apprentices learning this locust beans processing from her. She has even gone far by standardized the produced locust beans. She goes out to buy this takeaway plastic bowls, or what do you call it? So it's now having the locust beans processing in large quantity, even with a sticker, selling to other people from other communities in large quantity. The apprentices that learned from her have even set up their own business, locust bean business. So we have so many of them. We have a woman in one of the communities who engages herself in planting this watermelon in large quantity, and so on and so forth. We have so many of them that have benefited from the program positively.
All right, Mr. Ladipo, thank you. Let's again put you on hold. Of course, let's just to announce that Dr. Sumaye Hamza, who is the Executive Assistant, of course, to the Governor on cash transfer, will be joining us from our Jos Network Center. I don't know if she's up now, but in the meantime, let's come to Kwara again. You've heard the peculiarities of implementing specifically the cash transfer in Oyo State. Now, we understand that some women, have been able to access their funds to the extent of also funding a borehole. These are basically, extreme poor who are heading households. How has it been with accessing their fund? Do you also have your own story to tell?
Yes.
Or has it been seamless?
No, it has been, before I go on, I want to collaborate the story of Oyekola, because all those challenges he went through, we also went through them. The estates that started went through the same challenges. It is a process. That was the first time we were starting cash transfer in Nigeria. It was new. We needed to experiment, get experience, and then you change.
It wasn't the first time.
No, I mean a large-scale cash transfer.
Even that wasn't the first time, but just go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
So we needed to experiment, and then we'll build on whatever is well, and then change whatever we feel was not going so well. There were myriads of challenges. If we say, let us dwell on the challenges, we won't even end this program today. But subsequently, the whole situation improved. Even in Kwara, we had about 14,000 beneficiaries, but ours did not drop as low as that of Ibadan. Ours dropped to just about 10,176. We have a lot of success stories. A case to mention is that of our local government in Kwara, where we have benefiting communities contributing money, and within 9 payment cycle, that is period of 18 months, they were able to save up to the tune of 15 million, which to me, I feel is a very, very, very big achievement. When we started, people criticized the program. They said 5,000 naira was very small. How much is 5,000? How can federal government be giving 5,000 and they feel they are doing something good? But we now got to realize that if you give the money to the people who are really deserving of the money, they will make very good use of it. And today, our beneficiaries on offer, were able to disburse the same money among themselves, and they were able to set up petty businesses, just like he said. We have them in so many kind of businesses today, depending on what the field they can actually triumph in. And apart from that, we have a community too in Irekbodum that is currently building a school from the 5,000 naira. In fact, it has gotten up to this height. The block has gotten up to this height as we speak. And then we have women who are into fish selling, depending on the area they find themselves. They are into fish selling. We have women who produce fufu in larger quantity. Some of them have also gone into charcoal. Then some are into petty trading. In the market, they sell tomatoes, pepper, gari, processing. There is a woman who was a hawker. She was hawking for somebody else. Today, she's from Ilorin West. Today, she has her own gari processing industry. She has even employed about 4 women that she's paying salary to on a monthly basis. Another one that actually even excited me more was when I went to Boo Market in Edu local government some times ago to visit the beneficiaries. This woman was never doing anything before the cash transfer program. When she became a beneficiary, she started her contribution. She took 20,000 naira first of all and bought some bags of gari, took to the market. As at last year, November, when I visited her in the market, this woman was taking 150 bags to market to sell on market day.
Are there beneficiaries in
Beneficiaries.
Are there beneficiaries in Ilorin Central?
Yes, we are covering the 16 local government in the 191 wards in 627 communities in the state.
Okay, Ajia, thank you very much. Professor Obasi, just before we go over to Jos, once the uplink is ready, Professor Obasi, you listen to some of the success stories, I mean, probably just random, that the officials have indicated. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on this? You see a transformation, as it were, from the poorest of the poor, now getting into petty trading, and even getting to become trainers, and then entrepreneurs of their own. I'm wondering, is this a concern to worry about that perhaps at some point some of them should be dropped from the scheme, or some of them are already, there's already a sense of double take. You know, you collect from Hajia ways when she brings a conditional cash transfer, and then when the vice president is also giving trader money, VP, you know, market trader money, farmer money, you also say from you collect.
Very interesting. You remember in this program, any time the way we started, a long time, you know, 2015, 2016, and the rest of them, before Madam joined us. I said this program is becoming omnibus. You remember that word that day? I used it here. It's omnibus. We've reduced the discussion to even to CCT. Conditional cash transfer.
No.
But
there are other aspects. We'll see how some.
Excellent.
Time.
I didn't see one. I to know that I'm expecting 2 in your caption.
That's right.
So we have a lot to discuss about this. CCT, remember that generally the program SIP was well designed. According to global practice, it's protective, it's promotional, is transformational. So this aspect, this last one you brought now, is transforming some people. Yes. And that's why actually they can be dropped. That's what monitoring can do. To know those who have now left that level, and you have moved them to another level, you remove them from the list and begin to now enroll other people so that it goes round. So if we really be taking them one by one, it means definitely there are many things to say. There's no doubt about statistics being rolled out here. I mean, we did under the BPSR, Bureau for Public Service Reforms. The European Union, supported a compendium of public service reforms. I don't know whether I've seen that. That's an update of the one I brought here one time, the first time I came here. I brought 1999 to 2014. This one was 2015, 2017. It's a midterm assessment of government reform programs. And SIP was covered there completely. I was the lead consultant to that. It's a big book, nearly 500 pages. So
summarize it.
yes. The assessment, some of the things they're saying here are real. In terms of whether it has provided services to the people, provided venue, yes. Whether it has increased the number of people who ordinarily were poor, they don't say, yes. You can be talking about numbers, appreciable. Yeah. How impactful, big was it? Whether it has also reduced corruption, yes, in a way. But I'm also shocked at what is happening because the idea is BVN. Remember, even Kuta over here. Yeah. And in theory, the thing is there. Through BVM, PM, you get your money, no intermediary, no corruption. These are the sing-song we have been hearing. But if you hear what is happening in the state, I think some of them are relaxing. Now you are paying, you're having problem paying them not the way they are supposed to be paid, and some people are not collecting it. It's now the faceless people who are supposed to be there, their children are collecting. These are not part of the design.
But they also say those faceless people are being addressed. You know.
They didn't catch them. They said they didn't know where they
No, at least they were not able to catch those people, but they've been able to put a stop. To further
they are not going to be paying them manually.
Yes, using that. But we'll come to the issue of BVN. I think we have Dr. Sumaye, of course, up now from our Just Network Center. Dr. Sumaye is the focal executive assistant to the governor and focal person social investment program in Plateau State. Dr. Sumaye, good to have you on our program. I'm sure you've been listening in. Quickly, what's your own story?
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Sumaye, you're not just, you are a focal person for social investment programs. So you, of course, oversee all the components of the SIPs. In terms of implementation, can you give us, what's your story?
I think, Claire, it looks like, we're having some hall back there. Our engineers will try and clear that up. If she's available now, she can respond to Claire's question.
This has been very encouraging. And implementation is done in the 4 components. The N-Power, which is the job creation, the homegrown school feeding, conditional cash transfer, and the government enterprise empowerment program. All these 4 components are being implemented in Plateau State. And we've recorded a huge amount of success in all the 4 components. For example, in the job creation component, which is N-Power, we have over 11,000 beneficiaries in Plateau State. And there's a lot of success story from these beneficiaries. Some of them have invested, some have gone into agriculture, they have farms, they have husbandry, some of them have kept and fattened cows, they've sold, reinvested, and have led them to build houses, while others have also gone into commence cosmetology and even train people within their communities. And they've started selling the chemicals so that the community members can buy the chemicals without difficulty. While in the case of the National Homegrown School Feeding, we have the cooks that have also used their little gain to benefit from the entire intervention. They've started with a lady started with 1 goat. The goat gave birth to 3, and those 3, 2 are pregnant. So you can see there's a chain of investment. And she has gotten people that help her to look after the goat while she is providing food to the school where she is serving. Another woman has now joined the queue by investing in piggery. So she has about 5 piglets now. And she's been able to remove her thatched roof and has now been able to put zinc over the roof of her family. We have the conditional cash transfer. In that component also, there's a huge amount of impact. Even though we have some little challenges, as other states have indicated, some of the women have also invested in trading. Some have used the proceeds of the trading to improve the well-being of their family. to improve their nourishment, their nutritional value of meals they offer to the family. They farmed vegetables behind their backyard because of education they are getting from the livelihood enhancement training. They have now used the vegetable to sell and also to add in order to have a balanced meal for the family. They've been able to send their children to school. They've also been able to access basic health facilities. Okay. And for us in Plateau State, we have additional component of the conditional cash transfer, which is the core responsibility, where the target beneficiaries are pregnant and lactating mothers in the 6 participating local government. We have 17 local government in Plateau State. 6 are participating because based on the poverty ranking, they happen to be the first 6 poorest. And so the lactating and pregnant mothers are benefiting in these 6 local government. They are getting additional intervention. When you take a child for immunization, you are now recorded as being compliant to the procedure of the intervention, and it attracts additional 5,000. When a woman goes for antenatal and eventually delivers in the hospital, she gets additional 5,000, and she gets a lot of education. Currently, there's a lot of training going on in the local government within the communities by the community cash transfer facilitators. They are training them on how to access the health facilities, how to improve their well-being, and how to also help themselves using the additional stipend they are getting. So there's a lot of education that is going on. It's not just to give them the cash and they are just left on their own. They are being informed and educated on how they can effectively utilize the funds so that it will help the entire family, not only the receiver on behalf of the family.
All right, Dr. Sumaye Hamza, you've given us, a lowdown on what is playing out with regard to the SIP in Plateau. But how much of a public conversation is taking place on the Plateau with regard to the SIPs? I mean, if you're having these success stories, are people enthusiastic to join? Are they pestering you to say, look, we want to be enrolled on any of the 4 schemes? And how, assuming there's such a pressure?
Has been a very enthusiastic one. A lot of people have come to ask, how can I now key into the National Homegrown School Feeding to provide service as a cook? And we tell them the procedure, and we tell them that already we have cooks. Unless somebody disengages or somebody relocates, then we have a space where we need to replace. That is when you follow a health check process. You must live within the community before you can now engage. And you must have a valid bank account owned by you with the name of the BVN, the same matching with the name on the account. At the same time, that cook should be strong enough to be able to provide the service. Similarly, on the case of the N-Power, even within this week, so many people have come to ask whether the portal has been opened. They have seen portal being opened. We tell them when it is opened, we'll announce it publicly. So there's a lot of enthusiasm by the public trying to key in because they have seen it is a reality and it is a program that is life-touching and it is a program that has a lot of integrity in terms of the fact that the payment is from end to end, from source of payment to the beneficiary's account or to the beneficiary's table in the case of the conditional cash transfer because they do not own a bank account yet. So they are paid cash. And so with this high level of transparency, a lot of people are now believing the program and they are very enthusiastic to key in.
All right, Dr. Sumaye Hamza, thank you. We again keep you on hold and get back to the Abuja studio here. And I'd like to ask the Aja Uwais, this question. There's been talk about BVN, which implies that, of course, BVN is applied, in disbursement of funds, obviously, to check, fraudulent, practices and all that. But apart from the beneficiaries of NPA or JIP who probably would have some degree of education, to access or to do BVN. Those within the catchment of cash transfer, How does the issue of BVN affect, their numbers?
Well, that's just the key, the answer to the questions he raised. Yes. The cash transfer is the weakest link in the sense that many of them live in areas where we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the reception, we don't have the power for you to be able to receive funds. Or even if you open an account, there's no banking infrastructure because we deliberately go to the poorest local governments. We start with 30% and then we do 50% and then we do the last 20%. So in every state that we've started, we're trying to cover, but it's in phases. Now, the cash transfer, initially, 3 banks offered to support us. Pro bono, that's GTB, Access and Stanbic. But there are all kinds of problems, even for the banks, because the logistics of even going to where they are. And then they were giving ATM cards, which came at a cost to them, and so to the beneficiaries. And we kept saying, give them just 10,000 naira, the entire amount. Don't take any money out. And the terrain for them to get there. So we had to now engage payment service providers. These are mobile money operators. And what we did with them is to ask them to start a back-end technology that gives us an idea of when payments are being made. We can see in a timely manner when people, from the back end, based on their own technology, who is being paid and who is not being paid. Initially, we would go with paper, and the community facilitator would sign off, the agent would sign off, the person collecting the money would sign off. And it would take us like 3-4 months to reconcile all the documentation. And of course, when you use paper, the incidence of corruption is likely to be higher. So now, once we started using the Abuja Loot and the World Bank, we had to put in place...
The recovered fund.
Yes, this back-end technology. So we're able to see when people collect. Still, there's no banking infrastructure. Still, people cannot collect money on their phones. So we give them ID cards. And these ID cards also give them, they are the ones that tell whether they can be trained or not. You see, it's not just cash, it's also people being trained and mentored all through the period. Now, for these people, they don't have BVNs. The idea, ultimately, is to bring people into the formal economy. And many of these people have never registered even at birth. The beauty of the BVN is it consists of all the fields that you require for a national identity number. So all of these BVN now, we're working with NIBS. NIBS has given each of our agents 10 offline machines, and they're trying to get them on the BVN. With the trader money, they're also at the bottom. They're 10,000 naira loans that we give. So they don't need a BVN either. But when they apply for the second, after they pay the 10,000 naira, at that point, they need to open an account and get a BVN.
All right, Hajia Uwais, thank you very much for your explanation. We'll come back to you to get some other responses. There are tweets that have also come in, but we'll take a short break now.
Are you aware that your perfect family may be under threat by germs? Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs, which could easily have been prevented. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Be Dettol sure.
Chief. Good morning, sir. You are here already?
No. Now my spirit day, my body day for house. What kind of question is that? Were you not the one that fixed this meeting for 8 a.m.? You are now coming by 10 a.m. and start asking me jab questions.
But Chief, now, I'm sorry. Don't you also go late for meetings sometimes? You know now, African time thing.
No more African time. And no more pancaking of face during office hours. At the end of the day, we will lose valuable time. We will not make progress. If we want to move this nation forward, we must treat business as business and respect time. Change begins with me.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. Can we go for the meeting now, Chief?
Later.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, so you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's go quickly now to our tweets. Sani Michael Omakoji, he says that social investment programs, especially NPower, have helped, to reduce unemployment in the short term. However, one expects that by now those NPower beneficiaries should have moved into enhancement scheme. Leaving the applicants to go back to the streets after 2 years would defeat the purpose.
All right, Amogbola Babs, the social intervention program of the Buhari-led administration has no doubt made considerable progress compared to previous administrations. However, there's room for improvement.
Now, Musa Hadejia tweets, says the SIP, such as Conditional Cash Transfer Program, was politicized in some states, but the program has uplifted beneficiaries and made them self-reliant.
All right, Dele Jack Solomon, of course, is saying he's given some way out. Several measures must be taken by the federal government to promote transparency and accountability in government finances so that this impact can be fully felt by the common man. God bless Nigeria.
All right, now Shuaibu Alkali tweets, says as per allegations for involving the social investment schemes, there are many beneficiaries are employees of government. I advise NPower to flush out those who are such beneficiaries to enable the unemployed have a chance.
And Musa Mohammed Adija tweets, federal government should review the number of students. They review the students' feeding program as the number of students enrolled is duplicated in some states.
Now, Yahaya Wada tweets, the SIP of the present administration is the best thing that ever happened to ordinary Nigerians.
And Festus Akiboyewa is saying that in this second term, the administration should broaden social intervention programs to include citizen security, public safety initiatives, and ensure its effective implementation. All our young people should be attached to programs, especially internships and jobs.
Chris Simeon, for the NPower program, since the duration is 2 years, the federal government should open the portal for new applicants and let 2016 batch A live.
And Claire Tusugele, the NPower scheme has really helped the young and old graduates for a short period of 2 years. But we need more programs like this to significantly impact the unemployed market.
Now, Okwoche Jackson, this is, says the social intervention is a blessing in general, but to me it is not. Because when my wife got the appointment of homegrown school feeding program, that was the end of our marriage.
Uh-oh.
What does that mean? You lost your control or something. I'm sorry, but that would be a sad one. But perhaps there were other issues. We do hope you're able to reconcile your differences. Yes.
All right. Omo Coyote tweets, these schemes are people-centered and for the development of the people, especially those at the base of the economic triangle. So they should be applauded.
Now, Olajide Mojid, now, schemes such as NPower should continue and be improved upon. If we have steady monitoring and more branches are created, it will be better for us in the long term.
And this is Owoni Fariori. School feeding program, trader money, NPower and Co. have been good for the people. School feeding has helped improve enrollment and will ensure some children get at least good meal a day. The NPower, if fully tapped, has plenty of potentials to give great things.
Yahaya Wada tweets, now one of the many attributes of NPower, for example, that I cherish so much is the fact that you don't need to know anyone to be shortlisted.
All right, we'd like to thank all of you, and please, just within the time we have, you can also tweet us at NTA GMN. Let us know what's going on. And we return to George.
Claire, I'm sorry I'm jumping in. A tweet is a tweet, short and sharp.
Precisely. Precisely.
Okay.
Dr. Sumaye Hamza, just the last one from me to you, and quickly one at that. Can you give us, how do you monitor compliance of the aspect of conditional, attachment to the cash transfer?
Monitoring for conditional cash transfer is done at different levels. We have monitoring at the state level, beside the one at the national that engages an independent monitoring team. We have the monitoring at the local government level and community level, because in every benefiting local government, we have community-based targeting team, we have conditional cash transfer facilitators, and we have other officers that are responsible for ensuring that the right things are done. Immediately, we have grievances. We have the grievance response mechanism officers. Once there's a grievance at the community level, it is escalated to the local and the state level, and immediately we intervene. The head of unit of the conditional cash transfer is there, and if it is beyond what the state can do, we also escalate it to the national level. So this monitoring string goes on to a large extent, reasonably, appreciable, to the extent that we address issues as they are reported to us or as we observe.
My question, maybe I would like to bring it back here to Ajia Amina, is compliance by the beneficiaries. The cash transfer has a condition. So do you monitor how beneficiaries comply with those conditions?
Yes. We have compliance monitoring mechanism at state level, local government level. And it is done electronically. We have cash transfer facilitators who have been trained. The federal government have provided them with tabs, which they use, and there are several questions on the tab, which they have to key in the answers, and then they send to the cloud. So depending on the level of participation of that beneficiary will know whether that beneficiary is compliant to the condition or not.
All right, thank you very much. Hajia Ways, very briefly, but I know this is, of course, a critical question that everybody will be interested in, particularly those who are beneficiaries and then those who would like to get onto the scheme. How sustainable is the SIP, which raises the issue of budgetary allocation, budgetary receipts, and more particularly, management of those in the NPower who have a 2-year scheme?
So that's many, many questions. That's the truth. But so one of the things we're looking at is institutionalizing. So having an entity that is legal. So there's a law that's been drafted pro bono by very, enthusiastic lawyers, and it's being considered now to see how we can ensure that it's permanent. Secondly, we're doing a roadmap. We've prepared a roadmap for the next at least 5 years, but we need targets from the Ministry of Budget and National Planning to be able to assess how much is required for the targets. But irrespective, we feel that we need to source for money. We're looking at different options, and we've had several engagements with the Economic Summit Group who are very enthusiastic. We've met with some members of the private sector. We've come up with different options, tax variables. Is it a percentage of GDP? Is it a social bond? Is it a surcharge on maybe tickets? We're looking at various options to see how we can support the funding that we get, because reality is there are many contending demands on the monies that come in. So there are a lot of activities going on to see how we can sustain this funding. But we need the buy-in of the public to understand what we're doing and to realize that this money is actually being used for the purpose, and anybody can track. That's one of the reasons why we need a BVN. Not just because of that. We need to measure. We want to be able to track our beneficiaries in 15 years, 20 years, if we have we can tell across programs if a cash transfer beneficiary has taken a JIP loan, because that BVN will tell us. You understand? So we're also creating a consolidated beneficiary register so that we can track and measure the performance of each of the programs and the performance of each of the beneficiaries.
Okay, just the last one from Professor Abasi. Prof, how can we make this scheme, more attractable? You hinted at the, issue of BVM earlier on.
Yeah, first I would say how much of the 500 billion released in 2016 budget given to the office? How much of the 500 billion released the subsequent budget 2017 to the office? If we know how much that is being put into the program, we begin to talk about how ready is the government try to institutionalize it, upscale it to the extent Madam is talking about. So critical issues, I was telling you that this is omnibus discussion today. There are many things to argue, to talk about. How has the program been funded? It's very crucial and key to how it can proceed. Because, it's a serious program. We had it that time. Government took it as one of its flagship programs. And along the line, I think Twitter mentioned it that there was politicization in terms of money, funding. There was a complaint. I don't know how genuine that was. Madam would have told us that indeed money meant for this did not go into, which means they didn't get largely what they wanted. And it's also important to think about why was the Plateau, Mrs. Samuel told us, they are doing 4 components, even though they added small one to it. Why was that one on free education to science students dropped? Nothing being said about it. Is it dead?
Okay.
So we really don't have much time. Like you said, it's an omnibus program. No doubt there's been milestones have been made and progress from all the tweets we've received. But I just would have loved you to tell us maybe in terms of making the process seamless. Okay. Yes, if you have any idea that could be.
Actually, her office is working towards sustainability. Like what she was saying, they prepared a bill. They trying to put structures in place, trying to see how they can, coordinate with other agencies and work seamlessly towards achieving the same goal. Because, SIP programs are cut across everywhere. Almost government policies are doing what SIP is doing in one way or the other. So you have some ministries that I feel you are coming to take part of their mandate. So that is there. Okay. So there are a lot of things to talk about.
All right. Professor Isaac Abasi, thank you very much. Those who were in this environment over 20 years ago will remember all the talk about parallel government and what PTF was doing. Exactly. But once you scrap PTF, then you started seeing the major challenges that PTF was helping to resolve. But I'm sure that in terms of further insights into what SIP is all about and what it's been able to achieve and how it can be improved upon. These are issues that we can take up. Professor Isaac Abasi, Professor of Public Administration at the University of Abuja, I would like to thank you for being part of our conversation this morning. Our deep thanks also go to Hajia Dole Amina Yahaya, who is head of unit of the Kwara State Cash Transfer Scheme. Thank you for being on Good Morning Nigeria. From Ibadan, we were joined by Ezekiel Oladipo, who also heads the Oyo State Cash Transfer Unit. Thank you very much. We hope that you are able to chase those people who were receiving the cash transfers on behalf of their parents and didn't remit to the parents. All right, from Jos, the Executive Assistant to the Governor and focal person for the SIP in Plateau State, Dr. Sumaye Hamza. Thank you very much for being on Good Morning Nigeria. And last but not the least, Hajia Miriam Owais, Special Advisor to the President on Social Investments. Thank you for being on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
All right, we'd also like to thank all of you, of course, who sent in your tweets. Do join us again. Well, today is Friday, Kingsley.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Join us again on Monday. From all of us here, bye-bye.
All right, I'm Kingsley Osadolo. Do enjoy the rest of your day and have a nice weekend.